You already know what you need to do. You have known for days, maybe for weeks, and yet you are not doing it. Instead, you are checking your phone, watching one more video, telling yourself you will start after lunch, after dinner, tomorrow. This is not laziness. This is not lack of discipline. This is one of the most studied and most misunderstood behaviors in all of human psychology. And once you understand what is actually happening inside your brain when you procrastinate, you will finally know how to stop. Most people think procrastination is about time management. They believe if they just had better systems, better schedules, better willpower, they would stop putting things off. But decades of research tell a different story. Procrastination is not a time management problem. It is an emotion management problem. When you procrastinate, you are not avoiding the task. You are avoiding the way the task makes you feel. The anxiety of not knowing if you can do it well enough. The boredom of something that feels tedious and uninspiring. The frustration of something that feels confusing and unclear. The self-doubt that comes with something that really matters to you. And your brain, which is designed to protect you from discomfort, finds something else for you to do instead. Something that feels better right now, even if it costs you everything later. Here's what is happening in your brain when you procrastinate. Your brain has two key systems that are constantly in conflict. The first is the limbic system. This is the ancient emotional part of your brain. It is focused entirely on right now. How does this feel in this moment? Is this comfortable or uncomfortable? If it is uncomfortable, the limbic system wants to escape immediately. The second is the prefrontal cortex. This is the rational planning part of your brain. It understands long-term consequences. It knows that doing the uncomfortable thing now will lead to better outcomes later. But here's the problem. The limbic system is faster and stronger, and it almost always wins in the short term. When the task in front of you triggers discomfort, the limbic system fires first. It sends you toward relief, toward distraction, toward anything that feels better than the task. And your prefrontal cortex, which knows better, is simply too slow to stop it. This is why willpower alone never works. You are not weak. You are just human. And your brain was not designed for the modern world's demands. Not all procrastination looks the same. And understanding which type you are dealing with changes how you address it. The first type is avoidance procrastination. This is the most common type. You avoid a task because it makes you feel anxious, overwhelmed, or afraid of failure. The bigger the task matters to you, the more anxious it makes you, and the harder it is to start. This is why the most important things in your life are often the hardest to begin. The second type is perfectionism procrastination. You do not start because you are afraid of not doing it perfectly. You tell yourself you are waiting until conditions are ideal, until you have enough time, until you have enough information, until you can do it properly. But the real reason is that starting means risking imperfection. The imperfection feels like failure, so not starting feels safer. The third type is decision fatigue procrastination. You are not avoiding the task because of fear. You are avoiding it because your brain is simply too depleted to make another decision. Every decision you make throughout the day depletes your mental energy. By the time you get to the important task, your brain has nothing left, and it defaults to the path of least resistance, which is always in action. Here's the part of procrastination that most people do not understand. The longer you procrastinate on something, the harder it becomes to start. Not just because time is running out, but because of what happens psychologically while you wait. Every day you do not start, the task grows in your mind. It becomes more significant, more daunting, more impossible. The email you should have sent last week now feels like a conversation you could never have. The project you should have started last month now feels like a mountain you can never climb. And alongside the growing task grows the guilt, the shame of not having started, the self-criticism that builds with every passing day. And guilt and shame are not motivators. They are paralyzers. They make starting even harder, not easier. This is the procrastination spiral, and the only way to break it is to act before the spiral has time to fully form. So what actually works? Not tips, not hacks, not motivational quotes, but real psychological strategies that address the actual problem. The first strategy is to shrink the start. The reason you are not starting is that starting feels enormous, so make it impossibly small. Do not tell yourself you will work for 2 hours. Tell yourself you will work for 2 minutes. Do not tell yourself you will write the whole report. Tell yourself you will write 1 sentence. Do not tell yourself you will go to the gym. Tell yourself you will put on your shoes, because starting is the hardest part. And once you have started, momentum takes over. Your brain shifts from avoidance mode to engagement mode, and continuing becomes easier than stopping. The second strategy is to identify the emotion. Before you sit down to work, ask yourself, what exactly am I feeling about this task? Not what do I think about it, what do I feel? Anxious, overwhelmed, bored, resentful? Naming the emotion removes some of its power, and it shifts the problem from the task itself to the feeling underneath the task, which is actually solvable because you cannot make a task less important, but you can learn to tolerate the emotions that come with important things. The third strategy is to protect your energy. If you are dealing with decision fatigue, procrastination, the solution is not more motivation. It is better energy management. Do your most important work first thing in the morning before your brain has been depleted by 100 smaller decisions, before the limbic system has had time to accumulate discomfort, before willpower has been spent on everything else. Because the version of you at 8 a.m. is capable of things the version of you at 8 p.m. cannot even attempt. The fourth strategy is to separate identity from performance. One of the deepest roots of procrastination is the belief that your performance on this task reflects your value as a person. If you do it badly, you are not just bad at this task, you are not good enough. Full stop. And that belief makes every task feel life or death, which makes avoidance feel necessary. When you learn to separate what you do from who you are, tasks become tasks again. Difficult, perhaps, important certainly, but not existential. And tasks you can actually start. Procrastination is not a character flaw. It is not proof that you are lazy, or undisciplined, or not cut out for this. It is proof that you are human, that you have a brain that was designed millions of years ago for a world that no longer exists. But understanding your brain is the first step to working with it instead of against it. And the next time you feel the pull of procrastination, you will know exactly what is happening. You will know the emotion underneath it. You will know the strategy to address it. And most importantly, you will know that the only thing standing between you and starting is 2 minutes of beginning. Subscribe to Level 1, because every week we explore the psychology behind why humans think, feel, and behave the way they do, and what you can actually do about it. See you in the next one.